Look at the mechanics of any conflict, and you'll find the same dynamic, one entity attempting to impose its will on another. Whether it's a physical confrontation or a clash of ideas, the logic remains constant. An opponent sets the parameters and attempts to force their preferred outcome onto you. When faced with this kind of sudden stress, the human brain relies on customary limits. These are the habitual, unconscious patterns of thought and movement that we use when we feel threatened. Without a deliberate intervention, you aren't actually choosing a response. Your biology is choosing for you, instantly limiting your options to a very narrow range of survival tactics. This default biological state traps us in a binary, bouncing between two extreme nodes, fight or flight. Choosing to fight means meeting force with force. It turns the interaction into a zero-sum game, where one person must dominate and the other must lose. Choosing flight means retreating entirely. You yield the space and the momentum to the attacker, effectively giving them exactly what they want. Both of these reactions keep you tethered to a single line of interaction. On this axis, the attacker is the one dictating every term of the engagement. By merely reacting within this binary, you have accepted the attacker's view of what is possible. You have traded your freedom for their rules. Aikido provides a method for navigating this pressure, serving as a practical science and art of thinking designed to break this binary trap. It begins with a shift in perspective. An incoming attack is no longer seen as a threat to be blocked, but strictly as a vector of energy moving through space. The first physical step is to step completely off the direct line of the attack. You refuse to meet the incoming force at the point of collision. By removing the point of impact, you nullify the fight aspect of the binary. You aren't resisting the attack. You are simply no longer where the attack is landing. Because you haven't run away and you haven't struck back, you have successfully rejected the restrictive limits the opponent tried to impose. This opens the door to a third path. Instead of opposing the conflict, the practitioner harmonizes with it. This vector diagram shows the mechanics of harmony. The defender merges with the attacker's trajectory. The linear will is redirected into a curve, following the defender's lead. This blending creates a new possibility. The conflict becomes a source of motion. The attacker is neutralized, not through physical damage, but by redirecting their intent, leaving them nowhere to go. This makes Aikido the art of turning a challenge intended to trap you into the exact energy required for a creative resolution. The physical techniques are the entry point, but the consistent practice of these movements begins to shape the practitioner's internal state. For the Aikidoist, an attack is no longer an event to be feared. It is a raw material, a vector of force that can be used to create something new. While the ordinary mind is blinded by the fight or flight trap, the trained mind remains calm, looking past the obvious collision for those invisible paths. By replacing the biological panic of a conflict with a controlled, creative response thousands of times, the practitioner effectively trains the brain to look for options where others see only obstacles. Eventually, this philosophy moves beyond the mat and into the realm of intellectual and spiritual liberation. The continuous practice of finding the third path frees the individual from the unconscious boundaries of human behavior that most people accept as fixed realities. This martial art becomes a roadmap for navigating life's impositions, facing a physical threat, a professional argument, or an internal struggle. A mind capable of turning a restrictive imposition into a harmonized possibility represents a state of freedom that persists long after leaving the training hall.